Now they can.
See? There we go. Chat, run it back. Can you see us?
You
Can
guys
hear
missed
us?
Danny's awful countdown joke.
Hey, awful. Awful. Just up. What?
I put in the chat as we were doing the countdown how many LDs today, and Mirth is over there like, what is LDS, like Church of Latter-day Saints?
It is not the Church of the Latter-day Saints, but it is very much so a religion. We're drinking Liquid Death on the stream, as always. I don't know what the over-under for LDs on the stream is today. Maybe 6.5? Chat, how many Liquid Deaths are we going to put back today?
Depends on how many of us are on.
True. Well, you can see we have the empty chair next to me. We have a surprise co-host coming on in just a few minutes. It is not his first time on Monad in the Morning. I think he might be at the door, actually.
Yeah, I forgot it locks everybody out but us. We're live.
You're live?
Yeah.
Let's go.
And welcome our next host.
Next?
Well, you were the first one.
Okay, all right. We
Good to be
got
back.
There's a
We
poor
got
choice
Evan.
of words,
Whoa.
but whatever. What's
How are
up,
you guys?
Evan?
Evan
you
back
guys?
in the hot seat.
Good to be back, man.
Yeah, pull that mic close to you so the chat can hear that
Awesome.
crispy audio.
Oh, you need a LD.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah, we just
More than that.
set the over under on LDs consumed on stream today at 6.5.
Somebody said under 10 LDs. That seems like a pretty high number to.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that's a pretty safe wager, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't even know honestly if
I
we
mean-
have 10 more.
Well, actually, that would be 3 each, and then if the guest has 1, that's not actually unreasonable.
True. Good math, Jessup. Not unreasonable.
Nacho, I will take your bet.
Oh, that was Nacho? All right. Shout out Nacho. Yeah, and speaking of guests, we've got pretty awesome lineup today. We're going to bring on Ash, the founder of Axel, in 22 minutes to be extremely precise. And then we're going to have Denny joining us, Chief Product Officer at Mento, doing very cool stuff in the FX on-chain, stable coins, payments side of things. So definitely one to stick around for. I'm excited for it as well. It's interesting times for crypto. It feels like certainly a lot of the motion is on the more of the like enterprise institutional payments has been hot for a while. Stable coins have been a big narrative. So obviously a lot to talk about there, but kind of curious for your thoughts, Evan, like, just broadly on where crypto's at right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it. The sentiment for most people is probably that, we got into the super institutionalized fintech moment for crypto. I do think like part of that is very true. We're going to see way more stablecoin issuance. Things like RWAs are going to continue to matter because you're going to need new yield sources for all of this money on chain, right? But at the same time, I don't think that means like the trenches or like some consumer app that's grassroots is dead. Like every single cycle, I remember back in 21, for example, people said the same thing of like, oh, now it's just going to be institutions kind of doing everything, right? But I think like the beauty of crypto is that it moves so quickly and all it takes is one spark to kind of get things going. So we're still seeing a ton of like new consumer founders trying to find like new games on chain, new products, putting DeFi under the hood, things like that I'm still pretty excited about. And I think like for us at Monad, we're kind of at one of the more unique positions where we get to see all of it, right? I think the end game for us on the institutional and DeFi side is to be a chain that has the deepest liquidity in the game and at the same time being fully decentralized EVM, being on EVM, battle tested smart contracts, there's a huge value prop to the institutional side. So we have a few people on our, Joe Anita, who's our head of institutional, Raj, who's our head of stablecoins. Man, every single day under the hood, I think people should be excited about some of the things coming down the line, as early as the end of this quarter. And then on the other side, like we're talking about, I would say you can never rule out the things that are happening under the hood. And there's still people that are, I really think, like, for example, prediction markets still probably 100,000x from here. Yeah, sure, I'd say like the retail attention game is less on crypto right now. Like, gold is ripping, like every AI stock in the world is ripping. But at the same time, I think it's one of those things where like there's many easy reasons for liquidity to flow back into, and that could be sooner than we think.
Yeah, I have no idea if this is true, so please fact check me on this. But I think it was Ansem tweeted that gold put on like 1.7 trillion in market cap yesterday, which is roughly like the entire market cap of Bitcoin in one day. S&P 500 all-time high. The White House posted this like hilarious graphic.
Yeah.
It's like all-time high. America is so back.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's just kind of a little bit weird. But if you think about like the way that institutions and enterprises are actually moving on crypto,
For
sure, they don't maybe move as fast as like, a viral consumer app that gets traction amongst the natives,
Right.
and then, within a day or two, like, everyone's going nuts over this new hot shiny thing. As fun as that is, like, institutions are playing a different game, and they're kind of, looking at a much longer time horizon, and just seeing like a simple comparison between, the amount of capital that's in gold versus the amount of capital that's in Bitcoin. Obviously, like, that's the biggest crypto market cap. So it just shows that, like, okay, there's a ton of room to grow here, but not only is there room to grow, like, there's actual growth happening. It just doesn't play out necessarily the same way that we've seen, some of these sparks in like early innings crypto. So.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, I think that, for all the doom and despair, like, sure, gold and everything's ripping. I think AI is like kind of secular by itself too. A lot of this, and the whole like recent White House thing, a big part of that is them basically saying like, they don't really care that the dollar is getting devalued. So of course, like, all your metals are ripping, and even stocks, like the denominator, which is the dollar, is not as valuable. So everything else is going up. I actually do think, like, and maybe this is consensus now, maybe it's, like actually a bad take, where everyone's like, oh man, like if gold rips, like Bitcoin should follow, right? I actually do think that like that's not as far away as we think it is. And like a lot of this is very recent with how the White House is signaling what they care about the dollar and what their views on there. That's why like the past few days, like things continue to just go parabolic for gold and silver. I actually think like we are probably, within the months away category, BTC following that type of move of Ethereum and alts. And I think people forget what happens the second crypto gets a whiff of liquidity. It also then becomes the best game in town again.
Yeah. Oh, it like, flips on a dime.
Yeah.
Like it goes so quickly. And I've also seen, like, sure, sentiment has not been the hottest in crypto. Like, that's not a secret. Like, last couple months have been, one of the more kind of sentiment bottom
for sure,
feelings.
100%.
I've definitely seen more optimism from crypto natives on Twitter in the past like week and a half than I have in recent months. Overall, like, tweet from Ansem yesterday, if Bitcoin's not at 250K by the end of 2026, then he will swim in Central Park in a bikini.
Nice.
Honestly, either way,
someone
we're
make an
gonna
AI
win.
video for that.
Either way, we're gonna win.
Yeah.
Because if Bitcoin's at 250K, that is awesome. If Ansem swims across some like dirty pond in Central Park in a bikini, that is also a different form of awesome. And
That's an arguable one. I don't know. We can get Grok to make that one, and we can see if
True.
we want it to happen.
True, yeah. Let's spare our boy Ansem. Before we bring on Ash from Axel, and I am very excited to do that.
100%.
Couple items of news of the week curated by none other than GK. Shout out GK, one of the legends here on the growth team. The Claudebot saga has been pretty interesting to follow. Claudebot, now Moltbot, couple meme coins. Not directly associated with the project. The lead developer was like, very much so condemning crypto, condemning meme coins, basically saying that like, people are ruining the project. And I think like the way that it played out, sure, I think it's easy to see it that way, but also, if you've been under the hood on both crypto and AI stuff for the past year or so, as I know you definitely have, I would imagine there's like a different path as well where these things can actually, have some synergy and provide mutual value. But curious, like, if you have any thoughts on that, Evan.
To your last point, like, I do think that if crypto gets a whiff of liquidity again and people are trying to do things on chain, I think it's just inevitable before we get another AI season. Like every cycle, tries to happen, and for very good reason. Like even the other day, Vlad, CEO of Robinhood, put out a quote tweet in response to Dario from Anthropic, who put out this kind of big like vision thing of just how quickly AI is growing. And Vlad's big thing was like, yes, like, agree with you on all of this, but one of the big things is that none of these retail investors are going to get anything out of this until you guys are IPOing at like, valuations where it just doesn't give people any upside, right? And like you have this kind of Robinhood, and I think it's very like retail sentiment that this is the technology of the future and people want to stake in it. Everyone believes in this and they want to make these networks work. So I do think that crypto AI will, like, honestly, just never die. Like, it just a convergence of, to be honest, like, I think everything in the world is just downstream of AI right now. Like, I almost make all of my decisions of, like, what's going to happen in a post-AGI world, and is what we're doing right now durable within that? And I think, like, crypto is a tool in that techno toolbox of, like, in a post-AGI world, like, this is internet money, right? This is internet finance. You're going to need crypto for privacy. You're going to need crypto to transact. You can give it to your agents for autonomous money, right? And I think it's one of those things where like the world's going to keep changing. We might all just be injecting peptides. Like you know what I mean? But like, and that's also part of the tool. Like you're going to be longevity maxing, like all of these things, like we're all optimizing. I think crypto is your tool for money in that category.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of longevity maxing, I just got on the Whoop train.
Let's go. Do you like it? I've been thinking about it.
This is like day 3 or 4. Definitely enjoying it overall thus far. It's like a little bit interesting and kind of annoying to wake up every morning, check the app, and see that I'm like 30% recharged.
Sleep score is just destroyed.
Which is like, the main reason that I didn't get it before. I was like, I don't really need something to tell me how tired I am, because I'm like, I'm so tired anyway, man. But like, hey, we're on it now. It is pretty cool.
Okay.
We had this snowstorm come through, and I went out and shoveled some snow, and it was like, clapping for me, like, hey, you got some good exercise today. And I was like, all right. It's kind of a double-edged sword. It pats you on the back for doing healthy things, but then it's also like, bro, you need to go to bed.
No, I totally get it. I mean, I think like all of these categories, I've been very much thinking about getting a whoop, but I've also been thinking the same thing of like, do you think it's gonna like change how you live your life? Of like, okay, I'm gonna like sleep because I need this score.
What gets measured gets managed.
You think so? Do you have one as well?
I have a Koros.
Yeah.
Which tells. I mean, this is just like my.
It
watch.
also does like sleep management.
Yeah. And I mean, I've looked at my sleep for like the last 6 months pretty rigorously, and
Dude, that's a bar, man.
but it's
what
like-
gets measured gets managed. This is
it's
wisdom.
getting it's I didn't come up with that. That's Tim Ferriss, but
Yeah, but you're trickle down wisdom.
You could have taken
yeah,
credit
you
for
could
that.
have taken it.
but essentially, like, yeah, I mean, I'll say looking at the trajectory of my sleep is improving, and like just understanding what, especially with AI, like I could take my sleep score, drop it into, what does the chat say?
I'm just laughing because I think it was chaos, if I can read that correctly. Is you might have to scroll up a little bit now. Oh no, there it is. I don't know who that is. Oh, Celestial Natty. I don't have the machine, but I am never tired. You are a machine if that's the case. Congratulations, Celestial Natty. Wish I could channel some of that.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just getting good sleep. So
Yeah.
hey,
I
cheers
also
to that.
think that bar alone just might have sold me on, like, I'm gonna go and buy one after this.
You know what would actually be the most compelling thing
Yeah,
if there was an on-chain component.
trying to earn some money for getting more sleep, man.
Right. That's
Yeah.
I guarantee you could create a very nice flywheel.
But how?
with-
I guess, like, how would you do that? Like, where does the loop come in? Because the money has to come in order to.
Yeah, so you can, like, assuming there's a token for, Whoop, you can earn that token by doing different activities, and they're always trying to improve the product as well. So they want to incentivize people to do certain activities. You can go to Whoop offices and do these things called labs, and basically they put you through, like, specific exercises and specific conditions that they want to test how the device responds.
Oh, wow.
And so there's all the, like, they're always trying to improve the product, so they want to incentivize usage in certain ways. It's also a subscription model. And so I think there's, like, I haven't thought about this in crazy detail, but I think basically the
I've never
flywheel
thought
would be
about
like-
this at all. This whole.
I think, like, you could probably do something where you're incentivizing activity and streaks and, like, really gamifying, and the token is ultimately some sort of, like, points system where you can, pay for your subscription or unlock different features. Like, there's different tiers of membership
Would
as
you
well.
equate it to something like an on-chain reward system?
Pretty much, yeah, basically. And like I said, I don't know, haven't thought through all the details of how that would work, but it did occur to me.
Has any that you guys know of, has there been any product that, like Whoop, or something that is a Web 2 product that has taken this model and successfully done it? Because it seems like most of the time we're now seeing people build immediately in Web 3 as opposed to go in the other direction of, like, hey, let's build a really solid product and flywheel that is not using crypto at all.
Yeah.
And then
No, I think that's actually happening more and more now. Like,
Yeah.
I would say, like, probably the best consumer apps and founders I talk to now, like, they're like, yeah, the app doesn't really use crypto right now because we just want to get customers. But the second and it's that classic thing of scaling a startup. Like, I don't care about how I'm going to monetize. Like, if I can get the users, I'll figure it out. I think where crypto is coming in from is, like, as you start to monetize, then you do things like, okay, like, we're going to do the payouts in stable coins, and we're going to give you a wallet, and you're not going to know that it's, like, crypto, but you're just going to be holding these things, right? So I think, like, you can even go a level kind of, like, less degen than a token, and you can just do things. I know some teams that are working on accountability staking. So, like, this could be a more social thing where it's like you're in a pool with your friends, or, like, leaderboard things where, let's say, like, the three of us are in a pact, and it's kind of just like, all right, we're going to each have, like, 8 hours of sleep for the next month. We're going to each put in, like, $100. Like, if Danny's the
I
only
love
one,
this.
if Danny's the only one that gets it, he's taking all our money, right?
yeah.
And then you can even get it to a next level where, like,
I would never win.
people on Whoop are tracking, like, leaderboards with, like, who has the lowest resting heart rate and all of those things, right? Then you put prediction markets on those things. Like, they're like ways that, okay, once we want to start to monetize it or turn that on a little bit, I think that's when you use crypto for that.
Like I guess I could see something like Strava doing something
Sure,
like that,
yeah.
where now you're putting up money as a team,
Yeah.
and who's gonna run 2 miles every day or something
100%.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely consumer apps out there that already have users that are a good fit for this, and they probably want to monetize further. They probably want to, increase their like user retention loops. And so, the first one to hit us up, gets more of a dedicated focus from the Monad Foundation. So, I mean, we'll just be waiting, expecting, I'll check my email or some DMs, probably like, Whoop, Strava's already going to be in there. But, if not, maybe we'll reach out and see what we could do. New subject before Ash comes on. Again, shout out GK for getting us all the viral trending topics. Did you see this tweet yesterday about olive oil?
I saw the Coinbase tweet, and I had no idea what it was referring to, but I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, I see.
So I'll read like the original tweet aloud, and then we'll go to the Coinbase one. But the original tweet is, cannot stress how much of an advantage it is to be a normal, well-adjusted applicant for banking roles. I reviewed a resume that listed olive oil as an interest. That is not an interest. It's been hours, and I cannot stop thinking about it. There will not be an interview. Now, Coinbase tweets, 10 hours later, I think, if you have olive oil as an interest on your resume, we want to talk to you. And this just like totally blew up because olive oil as an interest is definitely kind of an interesting interest. But putting it on your resume is even more interesting. I feel like the guy who did that was like, let me just try and do something different and have a conversation starter.
Yeah.
Or
and then he
maybe
probably
he's
saw
legitimately
Dude, maybe he's
obsessed
just very
about
into
olive
olive
oil.
oil.
Well,
Yeah.
he may. I'm talking about like putting that on your resume specifically. It's
Brother's
like,
an Italian.
hey, fair enough. Maybe TradFi is not for olive oil, but TradFi meets crypto sounds like Coinbase, and maybe you'll find some luck over there. I don't think we would be opposed to applicants applying to work at Monad Foundation who are interested in olive oil either.
like it.
So yeah, we got roles open. Hit up what is it, monad.xyz/careers.
Just Google it. You'll find us.
Yeah, you'll go find that. If you like olive oil, you got a home in crypto. Let's see. Speed run some crypto news here. I guess Fidelity is launching their own stablecoin, Fidelity Digital Dollar, backed 1-to-1 by cash and cash equivalents on Ethereum. So that is pretty interesting. We'll have to ask Denny from Mento about that
100%.
in about an hour or so. Coinbase has integrated Jupiter Exchange into its stack, allowing people to trade millions of Solana tokens directly on Coinbase, but via a DEX, which is pretty cool. Think like, on-chain and centralized exchanges are just like increasingly becoming a little bit closer. And, obviously decentralization matters a lot at the end of the day, but I think, increasing the smooth path for users to actually come on chain is, pretty essential at this point. And that's why, some of these consumer apps like FOMO or Moonshot have really taken off. Like with that meme coin narrative, it's like, okay, what's the easiest way to do this? Is it to, figure out a non-custodial wallet and then on-ramp from a SEX and then, go connect your wallet? It's like, no, not really. Just buy tokens with Apple Pay on your credit card and, hopefully you don't get trapped with that 25% pain.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But Coinbase also launched a prediction markets product today, which is live in all 50 states. Or I said today, but I believe that was actually yesterday. That's pretty cool as well. I saw a tweet recently, forget who it was, but basically saying like prediction markets like still have 100x in it. And Polymarket could easily be I think someone, whoever put this tweet out, was saying like $100 billion company.
Yeah, it was the they were talking to the ICE guys who are I think it's the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ parent company that invested into Polymarket, I think at a 10 bill val, and they were saying that we think they can easily go over 100 billion. And for context, I think the New York Stock Exchange itself is $95 billion. So they're like, we think that this can be worth more than. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I think like the Coinbase thing is testament to that, where it's just really a new primitive. You're discovering truth, but you can also make markets on anything. I think it's downstream of this angle of like, we can financialize anything, we can make markets on anything. It's really the same unlock of like using Uniswap for the first time. You're like, well, I can just do this. Like I can trade any token. I can, I don't have to like wait for my Fidelity to like have something that I can trade. I think prediction markets will make that same unlock.
Yeah, I actually am reminded. I overheard IRL, this guy like, just laying into prediction markets.
Oh,
like
really?
he was at a restaurant at a table with a bunch of his friends, and like they had kind of heard of prediction markets, but didn't really know what was going on. And he was just like, this is like, the home of insider trading. Like this is, crazy. They're going to shut this down. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if you really are picking up on the broader trend here. That I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, because I would say like, maybe like Polymarket's narrative lends more into that. But then at the same time, like you look at Kalshi and most of the volume there is sports betting. And I think that like those types of super consumer facing that are less of like political insider facing will also just take off of super casual markets that people can trade. Like I have, friends of mine in the city will go hang out and like, you have a few beers and you're just trading college basketball like lines on Kalshi basically.
Yeah. 100%.
All right.
100%. I think
it's time for our.
Yeah, I think we
first guest?
I think we got Ash from Axel at the door. I'm gonna go let him in. Evan, talk to the chat.
I'll talk to the chat. Jim chat. Yeah. Hope everyone's been doing well. I know markets are whatever, but I think in crypto you got to keep the blinders on and you're playing the long game, and I think that's what's happening here. A couple of the people we're talking to today are definitely kind of playing that long game as well, and they're on the cutting edge of both consumer and finance. So give a sneak preview. I'll gas up our guest while he's coming in. Ash, one of the smartest guys that I know, comes out of the studio, dropped out of Harvard to build his app. It's a consumer-facing savings app. We're about to get into it, so I'll let Danny bring him in, and we're going to get to our first guest of the day very soon.
Right now, as a matter of fact, you are sitting on your Marty Supreme ping pong ball. Kind of potentially inside joke there. If people have not seen some of the content that you guys have been
filmed right here.
Bingo. Yeah. So obviously want to dive into the product and your team and the story a little bit, but since we have the ping pong ball there, we got to give the context. You guys have been creating some pretty awesome content. One, where can people find that content to get a little bit of context? And then if you want to elaborate on some of the stuff that you guys have been cooking on.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. This one's been fun. We've gone all in on just bringing DeFi yield to the masses. This is consumer fintech, and of course there's a lot of stuff that we've seen in the real world or outside of crypto that has worked. We're not huge fans of paid ads. We're not huge fans of like major influencer partnerships, at least not at this stage. I think the thing that works is UGC, and what that really means is like being authentic to ourselves, like getting the message out, being pretty funny and like leaning into it. So with the Marty stuff, it's like, and we are kind of just like tech bros internally a little bit. Like we watched the movie, this is incredible. Like this sums up a lot of the excitement that we have. Can we like make a bit around it? And it was crazy. It was the first video that we did. We just filmed it around here. I think it got like 1,200 sends on Instagram for an account that had 0 followers at all. So I was shocked by that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And like we still barely understand how any of these algorithms work, but it's just been fun. We're having fun as a group. It is honestly like what the culture's like as a team. And yeah, just making yield accessible. Like none of this stuff is gate capped. That's the order of the product too. It's like anybody can access this stuff. It's not hidden or hard. So just make it friendly.
Yeah, love it. Well, definitely. Do you know the handle on Instagram off the top of your head?
Yeah, I think it's Get Axel. Just GETAXAL on every single social platform.
Same as Twitter. Smart, easy handle, but also an available handle.
I think they were charging us a fortune if we wanted to get AXAL. I was like, nah.
Yeah,
That's not happening. Yeah.
That's how it tends to go. But let's give a little bit of an overview on the Axel product, because I'm sure the chat is interested to learn. You guys have been building heads down out of the studio here in New York for at least a year.
Yeah. It's been a while now. Great space too. I think we were hopping around New York. It was a team of 4, and now we're at like 8 working out of here, which is cool. Axel, simply put, like best place to park the dollar. That's like the super punchy vision that we're building towards. We're inundated by, and I use these things all the time too, like a lot of gambling or spot kind of apps like DraftKings, Polymarket, FanDuel. Like a lot of the great teams here in Monet are doing fun stuff with like perps and other primitives. I think for us, it's like for thousands of years, there are very few assets that humans view as like long-term investments, like fucking gold. I'd argue Bitcoin and DeFi lending are some new emergent ones. Index funds, small business lending, owning land and investing in that. And I think what you've seen with tokenization is like all of this stuff is there. Invest as little as a cent and go and hold that, as opposed to being like, you got to be rich, you got to live in the US, like whatever it might be. So like what we're starting off with is DeFi yield, where I think you're just becoming your own bank, and that's punchy to a lot of people, and it's a 0 to 1. And then we want to add on everything, like one app, 10 different asset classes, paycheck or direct deposit or whatever, straight into Axel, straight into your basket. Maybe my mom is like 50% tokenized T-bills, 20% DeFi, 10% Indian bonds, like whatever she cares about. But maybe for me, it's like a much more risk-on basket. Like 20% DeFi yields is like half of my portfolio, and then a little bit in T-bills, a little bit in like some random like small business loan, like invest in a laundromat facility in like Vietnam or something. Yeah, so that's a lot of what we're excited about. Best place to park the dollar, starting off with 6 to 10% stablecoin yield. Banks are fucking you and stealing your interest. Like, go and own that.
Wow. I mean, that's punchy for sure.
Yep.
And it is actually crazy. Like, you know, the number of, I think, just people in general that think of banks as like a safe, secure place to park your money. And like, because they have a safe and because they have walls, like, oh, they're doing you this service by custodying your money, and then you get like, I don't know, just this minuscule kickback, and it's just like, that's actually not really how this works.
It's actually hilarious. I saw a tweet yesterday. It was in the context of like, don't keep any crypto at home. I think it was from the Bankless guys, and it was like, safety deposit boxes in your physical banks are the least secure thing on earth. Like, you've literally seen like they can go in and get it. So like, small example of like, don't trust the shit, like in any capacity. And like, not just the yield side, even like when you look, or not just the bank safe money side, when you look at T-bills, like the US government has not been the best guarantor of like yields. Like, you go back to World War I, the first time that bonds at scale were being implemented, it was called a Liberty Bond, and like they did 3 tranches of this to fund the war effort, and like they paid out for the first 2 or 3 okay, and then on the 4th course of it, they just rugged the American people. It was
Really?
like, yeah, they literally promised like gold standard will pay people out, like you invested and helped the war effort, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and people were like, hey, I need my gold, I need my payout for like what I was expected, and they just changed the gold standard. It got off of it after. So it's like, people don't get it.
Oh, so that carried like all the way up to like the 70s.
Yeah. I think like this theme of like, and also T-bill rates all over the place, right? Like, go back even 5 years ago, things aren't paying out at all. So when people think like banks are safe and secure and they pay out, just not true in any capacity.
So what is it about crypto to you that makes it like the safest place, the best place to park your money, the most transparent?
Yeah, and like, unfortunately, the battle that we all have to do is the industry's had a bad rep over the past few years because of the stuff that's not crypto at all in my head. Like, blockchains do one thing really good, and like, if you're a business or company and you're not taking advantage of this thing, you're not even a crypto business. Like, give people guarantees. The reason why they're able to do that is they're inefficient databases for a reason. And with Monet, not that inefficient, but like consensus amongst a lot of different people all around the world who maybe hate each other, competing for the same incentive or reward for arbitrary info. Could be like financial info, could be like gaming data, whatever it might be. Like, that's powerful. We never built that. Like, you look at centralized data, AWS, Vercel, I don't know, like whatever you use for hosting, but also apps themselves. Like, developer pushes an update, it's screwed. Like, hell, we see this all the time too with like the power that a lot of crypto companies even get on behalf of user funds. Like, centralized exchanges, they can do whatever they want. Telegram trading bots do whatever they want. They just fully have a private key. So like, in theory, if you do this stuff right, and now you have the tech, you've given people guarantees for systems without sacrificing yield, efficiency, performance, and like finance is very much an area where you care about that shit. Like, you better own your money and not get rugged. Resonates with people abroad, not as much with people in like well-to-do Western nations, but even that's changing, especially now.
And in general, I feel like one of the biggest things in the U.S. at least is that financial education is actually like extremely low, right? Like we're talking about people, most of the time just parking their money inside their banking savings account, let alone even getting to a high yield savings account is already like a massive drop off. And then for you guys, there's the added challenge of, hey, we actually have like many unique assets. It's not even you are your own bank, and there's this crypto thing under the hood. How much of a challenge is getting through that funnel and like doing the financial education, or do you go after the crypto native demo and the like the demo that already knows like, hey, I'm on Marcus, but I don't really know about this crypto thing. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, it's a great question. Like, and this is where we've been bad about this in the past, and I think we just took, as a team, January, talked to everybody and really narrow down that ICP. Not necessarily like crypto natives, although I'm very much a crypto native and I use Axel. Like, I don't have time to manage all these different yield strategies. I'd argue Web 2.5 is who I can target for a little bit the next few months. Like, you're a centralized exchange user, you're a Robinhood user, you use all these fintech apps. Like, you make a lot of money, you start to optimize. And again, you can think of even better heuristics than crypto. Like, I don't know if you guys do the credit card points farming game, like a lot of my friends do.
Yeah.
Like, that type of person cares about optimizing their savings,
For sure.
where the educational battle is still there, but it's like minimal because they already care. And if you can show them that this thing is real, I'll send them $2. They use Axel for a week. They're like, fuck, this thing actually works, then it's cool.
Yeah.
But like, the other thing I've been thinking about recently is like the jump that you saw in a lot of Asia when like, what was it? It's like they didn't need physical landlines because they jumped straight to mobile. I think you could have that same jump in finance. Like, you're right, the vast majority of people don't use any of this. Like, and they don't, frankly, they don't care. Like, a lot of people make their money on both ends of the barbell from just like straight up bets or trades, like Nvidia, Tesla, or like pump fund trading groups.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people just don't care about like savings. I'd argue the vast majority should, because those things are very unpredictable and most people lose money. But like, I think this demographic that today is doing nothing because of the pain. Like, you can't get banked. You like, if you go on the App Store finance charts, like 100 out of the top 200 are predatory payday loan companies. Just like a joke. Like, you're getting screwed by everything around you. If you have something that works and provably is sustainable wealth and it makes sense to you after overcoming the educational battle, I think you can have these people like jump over the Marcuses and the CDs and the HYSAs that are really just wrappers on T-bills and go straight to something usul. So
100%.
Lots of thoughts, but starting off narrow.
Yeah. And how do you guys think about creating more of a moat over time? Because I imagine like, the product itself can be commoditized in two ways. Like, either people that are savvy enough to like go on Morpho themselves and just manage their own DeFi deposits, and then on the other side, like other people starting these consumer fintech apps to wrap this yield up. So for you guys, like what do you think differentiates, and how do you keep evolving Axel?
Yeah, there's two things. Like, number one, this stuff's just a like total pain in the ass to work with. Like, even if people tried, and like we know all these teams, we're friends with all of them. Like, we work with Privy and other apps, we work with Morpho all the time. Like, the reality of it is, and this is the beauty of crypto, but it's also why it makes it painful, very modular ecosystem. Like, you have Morpho for base rewards, then you have subsidized tokens. You have to go to Merkle, which is a whole separate platform. Aave uses them too, like Euler also uses them. Go and verify some like base hash of like rewards at this time were deserved. Then go and claim it, then auto compound, because most of our users don't want these tokens, let's say. So maybe some of them want to swap out immediately and reinvest into USDC. And then doing all of this in a secure way, like we do a ton of stuff with trusted execution environments and other forms of cryptography to ensure that, like, it's kind of like Google, where you have Google's allowed to read my emails but can't send on my behalf. That's the same shit. Like, Axel's allowed to only move funds between your wallet and these 5 pools under these conditions. Nothing else. Gun to my head, I can't do it. It's sitting in this TE. There's nothing I can change. So like, that's step one. I think there's like a ton of non-trivial stuff where we're not too worried. On the theme of like network effects or compounding, like, it's a savings app. And this is where I think the activation energy is hard versus a trading app or like Robinhood or free stock. Like, I'll just go and gamble $5 and maybe most users lose so they don't go back, but some stay. Savings are a harder activation energy to overcome, but if you overcome it, you dominate somebody's life. Like, I have the same Chase college account that I opened like right when I got into school. Like, I have not changed off of that at all. Like, only now I direct deposit to Robinhood because like I use that whole stack for most of my financial life. But like, DraftKings connects to my Chase, FanDuel connects to my Chase, Venmo connects to my Chase. Like, I think if you win savings, and savings critically, what we talked about, these long-term bets, like T-bills, but also DeFi lending or Bitcoin, like all these long-term investments, every not long-term investment has to tap into that. So that's the bet that we're taking. It's like a little harder and maybe longer sales cycles for some folks. For some, it's easier, but even for them, you got to build up trust. But if you win that, you dominate. Like, Robinhood's wedge was no fee trading. Revolut's was no FX. Axel is like best savings app. And when you add on these other asset classes, I get more of somebody's worth.
And And maybe for our audience here, which is more of like a globally distributed crypto crowd, obviously like this is streaming to people who live on CT. What is your pitch to them?
Yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of thoughts. Easiest way to go and get access to DeFi yields. Easiest way to get high yield DeFi yields without like dying and losing and getting scammed every few days on what you could invest in. Like I'm sure people, if you're watching this, you probably have done some airdrop farming. You've probably like invested in some ICOs. Like you've explored this stuff. You understand why yield matters. So I don't have to sell you on the value prop. What I'd say is like we're rolling out a high yield DeFi strat, doing a ton of stuff on Monad with like Curvance and some other ecosystems as well. And you can just go and invest in these things, but it's still paying for a lot of what we talked about. Like you got to do research. You got to be scrolling all day.
Right.
And like what I'd argue is what Axel does is like this advisor that's able to help create these strategies, still fully non-custodial. Go and diligence it yourself. Like go and do your own thing that I don't cover, but like truly 30 seconds go and invest. And I don't think you have that UX. Like that's 0 to 1 for certainly non-crypto people, but even crypto people, it's like the UI of yield has been spreadsheets. Like Morpho looks like a spreadsheet, Euler looks like a spreadsheet. Like that's not accessible for anybody, even the most degens that are out there. And like I heard we met some of the Pump Fun team yesterday, and their biggest trading group is just these Fortnite users, like not crypto at all, like Fortnite players who now started to trade, and they have the most detailed trading terminals on earth for Pump Fun, but they don't follow day-to-day events. They're not like tracking crypto Twitter. I'd argue like that's kind of what yield could be. Like there's so much to track and monitor. Just get really good at like diligencing what matters. Like, is this non-custodial and is the number good? And do I have a rough sense of what they're allowed to do or not? But your lifetime should not be like scrolling and looking at everything. So I think that's the core value add. High yield DeFi, but also like something that's safe. Like a lot of our power users are traders and trenchers who have some money in ledgers that they never touch, a little bit in Axel, and then of course the money that they go and use to take bets on. But Axel's kind of like this is the home base when you're not in a position and when you're not like burying something in the ground.
Compound and stack your wins, put them into Axel.
Exactly.
I think most people are probably familiar with like the kind of very typical strategy of just like parking in a long-term ETF and like, you know, reaping your 8% per year on average. But it sounds like the pitch for Axel is like you can actually do this much more easily in a UX that's much more friendly, and your you know, the assets are all stable coins. So like if you're able to offer like 6-7% on USDC, like that's pretty awesome. But like how is that even possible? I think a lot of people would ask.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons for it. There's this one fintech blogger, like Simon Taylor, who covered us like last week or the week before. He had an analogy that I hadn't heard of. It's a little techie, but like what we've done is basically take private credit, give it rules and teeth, and then make it accessible to anybody. That's what DeFi lending is. And like when you think about why is there a premium, like go back 3 years, the premium's obvious. It's like people who have Bitcoin want to borrow against that Bitcoin for the price appreciation. They don't want to sell it. They got to pay bills. They got to buy coffee. Like they got to live their life. And they can't go to a bank to go and get that loan. I think that's still very much a lot of what's driving it, but it's also fun when you look at like regular people starting to be on the borrower demand. Like this is just a lending market. Like people want to borrow. Axel is on the supply side. Like we're just putting that money to work, and the borrowers are getting more organic. You have like regular people, businesses. When I look at stuff like USDAI, even like you have straight up trad companies that could maybe hate crypto, but here's an easy way to go and get a loan, or here's an easy way to go and finance operations. And like that's the road we're heading towards. Like you already see it with stock trading. Like imagine a world 100 years ago where some regular person could invest in AMC, like a movie theater, or like invest in some like company that they're so divorced from. Like the same exact thing will happen for yield in traditional finance, where before it's gatekept to like Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley or these people on who, for what it's worth, also love this stuff and they're starting to use this stuff. Like now anybody can go and access it. So like there's a premium for a lot of reasons, mostly because of like these people who want price appreciation with their assets. But I'd also argue the tech is just better. Like the shittiest of cars from 2025 beats the crap out of the best car from 1920. Same thing, like tokenized rails for lending beat the shit out of like every other rail that you have. And there's probably a premium because those rails are better.
So probably safe to say like this is kind of inevitable on a mid to long-term time horizon.
Yeah, I think what I've been saying a lot recently is like 2025 was stable coins. Maybe 2024 was like some form of like meme coin trading or just tokenization getting unlocked. I think 2026 is yield. And we've already seen it. Like Kraken had their earn announcement yesterday. Coinbase has been doing killer stuff with like Steakhouse. Of course, Aave is going to go out with their app. Like the writing is so on the wall. And like even when you look at the TradFi side, BlackRock, Apollo, like you name it, you're going to have lending markets where the collateral is like private credit, which is crazy. Like 100%. Not just Bitcoin or ETH. It's like actual like asset classes.
I mean, and from my side, like I think it's a natural downstream effect of if 2025 is stable coins and it's like consensus that there's just more and more stablecoin issuance on chain. There's a reason why everyone is clamoring to tokenize more real world assets, for example, because you need more diversified sources of yield for all these dollars on chain, right? And I think it's like kind of clear that that's the future that we're moving into, of this like tokenize everything lends to just way more yield sources coming in. And I guess for you guys, that being the easiest way to manage it in both a secure environment, people go and download the Axel app. It's actually super nice. Like I can deposit, get whatever 5%, and it's blended across 5-6 different vaults. So I don't really need to manage that type of tail risk from like a smart contract perspective myself.
Absolutely. And that's the people watching this probably lived through this. Like go back 2 months, you had the stream finance stuff.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
It's great. Like we're still we're talking about all this great stuff, and of course things are maturing, but you still have like shit like that happen. And I think that speaks volumes to why you have to diversify. Like I remember I was getting into like a Twitter debate with some random guy who's like way bigger than me because I have like a tiny debt account. And like this guy was like, why diversify? Like all eggs in highest yield after you've already done diligence, which is like great. Many people might want to do that, and we'll allow people to do that if they want. Personally, I don't believe in this. Like you never know. Like especially when you look at the balancer hack, like 0 days for things that people thought were the most secure things on earth. Like diversification is essential. And like there's we've been like I not lucky, we've done diligence and we've ensured that the pools that we allocate to are good, but like you never truly know. That's why you have to think about diversifying, auto rebalancing. Like what I think about a lot is what the Telegram trading bots do, and that's why they win market share, is like fastest, cheapest, priority fee bidding wars, gas wars. Like their users win at all costs, even though it's not non-custodial. Why don't we apply the exact same shit to yield? Like if you observe that liquidity in a lending market is crashing, get the fuck out, and I'll make sure Axel users get out before anybody else.
Nice.
But you also know that I can't get you out by stealing your money because there's cryptographic permissions that stop me from doing that. Like that's a magical future. It's like a quant, private wealth advisor, whatever phrase you want, in your pocket, working for you all the time.
Quant in my pocket.
Quant in my pocket. Hammer that. Run with that. I wanted to paraphrase a question that came through the chat. Shout out Tank00XX. And to kind of tee this up, so we had an article on Twitter published by Tina, head of ecosystem at Monad Foundation, and the headline of this article was basically people will divorce their spouse before they switch banks. And basically just saying that okay, banking is very sticky. And you kind of talked about that with Chase, hey, I still have my same bank account that I had in college.
Me too.
And I mean, same for me, same for Evan, and that's just how these things go. So how do you think about getting users to switch over to a product that seems objectively better than its alternative when the alternative is so sticky? And how do you build that trust with a user to get them to be confident enough to jump over and say hey, this is the future of where I'm going to park my savings?
I mean, that's the battle, right? That's why you're a startup. It's why you need a team around you. There's so many angles to this. I fully agree with Tina. We got to sit down with her months ago now, and I think she mentioned her first job was something related to banking. She literally
she's
worked
working
in
on a consumer savings type of product at a bank, basically.
And her immediate thing, she just asked me Ash, why did you open your bank account? I was there was a Chase around the corner from my high school, and every time my dad would walk over, he'd be oh, Chase, this is the thing. And then when I started making money, it's okay, you got to open an account. For anything, even beyond finance, most people only do things. I'd say 99% of my decisions in life are because a trusted person, friends or family, tells me I should do it. I don't think that goes away. If anything, I think that gets doubled down on. You guys who are watching maybe trust the Monad ecosystem for a lot of reasons. You watch content, you see people, you go to events, you make money off of trades, millions of different factors. You're much more likely than somebody who has never heard about Monad to go and do something in that ecosystem. Same thing for banking. I'm much more likely to be upsold by Chase on some new product, even though their UI is terrible, I'm getting fucked on fees, all these things. So how do you overcome that activation energy when it's higher than any other product? There's a lot of lessons from trad fintech. Robinhood does it incredibly. Transfer bonuses, when I think about, they've won my financial life over now. Any money into Chase, I just auto move over to Robinhood because it's move your Roth over. We'll give you a 1% uncapped match. 401k, crypto, and now they're trying to steal from crypto companies, of course, right? 3% bonus on all crypto that you deposit. That's how you can overcome activation. I think the product itself has to speak for itself. Otherwise, you'll move it over and hate it, or you just won't even move it over. But then on the theme of friends, in-app referrals are huge, and I think gamifying it and making it fun. there aren't too many good TradFi examples of this. I guess you could argue Chase opening a physical brick and mortar location does that. It's like I literally see their presence every day, so I'm more likely to do something with them. Moonshot did it incredibly. Like I think a year and a half ago, like I barely traded it. My banker roommate traded all the time. I made more money off of fees from him than like me actually profiting. Like we want to do something similar. Like I'll give you a bit of Bitcoin for every dollar that you bring into Axel from your friend, or change Bitcoin with like whatever you care about. Maybe something more fun or gamified, not just like DeFi 6 to 10 or T-bills, let's say. But like you need to see that there's some uncapped way that you can make infinite money from this if you like the product and you get more people on board. And so that's what we're trying to do. I think that's how you overcome the stickiness. Of course, trust in product and like proving that there's no hacks and all this stuff is essential. But like it's surprisingly, certain things work, certain things don't. We tried doing an iPhone giveaway. It was okay. It wasn't like the best use of CAC compared to the transfer bonuses, but and then UGC is the final portion of that, where it's like some really fun content, relatable content. Go and hit the follow. Once you follow, you see Axel everywhere. You hear about it from a friend. Great. Then you'll deposit. But like you have to build trust. And I think it's harder for us than let's say most other finance apps.
Makes sense. But love the UGC, by the way.
Yeah.
Keep that coming for sure. I saw the video yesterday with the Marty Supreme ping pong ball, and I was dying laughing. And also, like, you know, it is when you're in a startup, like you guys, I think you said you have an 8-man team. Like it's hard to stay on top of all these like important things that are, you know, high potential growth levers. But like you said, you don't exactly know how an iPhone giveaway is going to play out compared to, you know, other incentives or things like that. So one, give you guys a lot of credit for just like doing that. But two, it's also pretty awesome stuff. So
yeah, it's like I don't know, like I'm sure people saw the Cluely stuff and like
totally.
I know I have a bunch of friends who just like shit on them all the time, but they follow the content and they love it because it's engaging and it feels a little real. Like we're trying to be authentic to ourselves and not doing anything too cringe, but it's just like really funny stuff. Like everybody's heard of like the Greenland stuff or the like ice stuff. I don't know. It's like we're not taking a straw. Like there's nothing political. It's all like satire, but like something that's relatable and fun. I think that's the future of content. Like when I look at my feed, even I never thought of Instagram as like I'm using a product from this thing until recently when you really see UGC as like things are embedded and it feels authentic. Paid ads are gone. We have a couple competitors where they're just doing boring educational content with paid ads similar to traditional banks. And like, great, it's a strategy, not the strategy that we're excited about or think is going to win. Like something funny, something to get your attention while still ideally certain pieces of content, maybe not all of it, tying into the product, essential. And I think that's how you can win.
100%. I mean, cringe is the name of the game in a sense. Like you have to be cringe, like, or at least comfortable knowing that like something that you put out is definitely going to be seen as cringe. We've done it a million times, and you know, it just like
doing it right now.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But like you're never gonna get to where you want to be if you're
100%.
just like so fearful and cognizant of putting out something that somebody says is cringe. And also then it's like, you know, what does that even mean? Like I guarantee you, like a lot of people that would call something cringe, like would love to be a part of what you guys are doing. Like same with Cluely as well. Like, you know, the startup life is becoming increasingly more attractive and increasingly more spotlighted with things like UGC. But I think, you know, your average person who's maybe in college or like just out of college is like, well, okay, do I want to go join some 10,000 person company and maybe get like a 5% bonus each year and then, you know, try and retire when I'm 65? And like, you know, it feels increasingly more hopeless.
Absolutely.
That path. And,
Absolutely.
You know, Shreyas was consumer lead at Monad Foundation. He was on in recent weeks, and he was saying basically like the American dream is actually just to like get rich. And, you know, the best way to do that now is to be a part of these like emerging tech industries, these, you know, new startups that are just trying to build something from nothing. And, you know, why not go and do that?
Absolutely. It's so fun. It's like we're just having fun. Like that's the, like, I think even if you go back hundreds of years, like very different from where we are today, maybe the financial system's better, like baby boomers didn't have to do shit, like that kind of era. Like even then, like they're just enjoying their life and work, right? It's like, I think about that all the time. And like sometimes things get intense, of course, right? Like you have scarce resources, it's very serious. Like especially for me, it's like, I never thought, I don't think I'm the type of leader who's like fuck you, do this thing. I can never do that. I think it's like people, you have to be aligned by this mission. And if you're not having fun, it all goes to shit. Like even if you're aligned if you're getting like bitched at every day, like people don't like what you're doing, like aura and energy is not there, nobody's doing it. So on the theme of like yes, a little bit of nihilism. It's hopeless. Like Housecoin, I met their founders. It's just like many people are jaded, but like if you have fun and if you're working on something that has some clear path and North Star that matters to you, odds are far higher that you're going to make wealth and do well compared to anybody else. And like, great, maybe we're wrong, but like at least we had fun and we gave this thing a shot. Best odds.
Yeah, set a big goal. We are at time here. Do you have like a couple more minutes if we go over?
Yeah, I'm totally good.
All right, I want to do a new segment, some rapid fire, more like fun kind of crypto native questions. Shout out Sherlock Hoddles from the growth team who helped us put these together. Actually, he put them together in the entirety, and he is probably the best shit poster I know. So maybe we'll get some reactions here. All right, rapid fire. Name the CT account that you would least want to be dating your sister.
Oh, jeez. Fuck. Thread guy?
Why?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. This is like the type of like separation of church and state. I think about that a lot. Like I see people who I maybe follow for trades or certain things, but it's like God knows, like I go home or like I'm not. No, fuck no. Yeah.
Mine would probably be Dip Wheeler.
I'm not familiar with his work.
Oh man.
He's
Farcoin GCR.
Yeah.
The train only runs this direction. He's basically just like the greatest Farcoin bull poster
Incredible.
of all time.
Incredible.
Yeah. Oh, incredible account, but just would have zero confidence in Dip Wheeler.
Actually, I know very little about Fartcoin, but AQR, like the fucking trad firm,
Yeah.
I know that they had an investment memo with Fartcoin included. So like maybe it was this guy.
Yeah, maybe. What would be the crypto Twitter account that you would prefer to date your sister if you had to?
Oh, jeez. Honestly, I'll do one of the engineers who has like 10 followers. I don't know if that counts. Fucking Acom or Dev. Just like educational shit, knows his stuff. Like I trust him. Like
just a nice, just a good guy.
a nice
smart
guy. A nice guy.
Yep. Hey, can't hate that at all. I don't really have a good answer, I don't think, for one that I would want to date my sister. All right, new question. What is either the biggest W or the biggest L of your career, or both?
Oh, jeez. W, I don't know. We have a long way to go. I think getting the mobile apps out was fun. That's something I never would have thought I could do. Like, I don't know, I'm so super young. Like, I graduated college like a year ago. Like, I never had a full-time proper job. I've just been lucky enough to get to go on this journey. And like, that to me, and the beauty of building consumer as well, I'd say, over previous things that we've done, I can show people this thing. I'm like, hey, download my app. Or like, my mom doesn't understand half of what I do, but like, she gets the aura and she's like, oh, it's on my like fucking phone, and I can go and use that. So that's like a proud kind of moment. Biggest L, you got to take a lot of shots. I think like I'm not somebody who grew up having the thickest of skins, like, and that's something that you quickly got to develop. A lot of great founders and teams have that, but like fundraising grind, as many founders can probably relate, is usually a total pain in the ass. Like, especially I had nothing. Like in college, it was like we did this accelerator program, had a bit of money, I never touched it at all, and then I knew no VCs. Trying to fundraise straight out of that in probably one of the worst environments to do it from a macro level, with no product and like a one pager and just my energy, like pain in the fucking ass and like very painful. I think you need a high pain tolerance, but that's probably a low.
Fair enough. And speaking of like the onboarding on the consumer side and being able to just like, take the app out and be like, hey, this is what I built. Like, this is really cool. Like, want to try it, basically. Yeah. I think you said you onboarded someone in a snowstorm.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that we've done. I mean, there's a blizzard in New York over the weekend. A fucking Subway. There's a couple of examples of this. There was like my roommates who like I haven't done too much with, and we're all locked inside, and I can finally force them to use my app, like that kind of aura, which was good. And then I was at a Subway, and I'm just like demoing or trying to screen record this thing, and then like this guy standing in line, AirPod in, like looking at my phone, he's like, what the fuck is that? Like, he just saw big money, because I just started a fucking treasury account. And I was like, bro, yeah, like just like that, earn or withdraw, no lockups at all, $1 million moving just like that back and forth. He was like, fuck yeah, that's kind of cool. I don't actually know if he downloaded the app, but that was cool. There's we're trying to do it every day. I was at the Stripe office yesterday for an event that they did. Nice. Echelons of TradFi, which is crazy because Stripe's also fintech, right? But to me, that's like, holy fuck. And like onboarding random AI builders or people there. So it's fun. Like on your phone, send $2 to some guy instantly. It starts earning. gamified as fuck. Like swipe up, whole screen turns green. You know for sure that you're earning. Like it's fun to onboard people in real life. Absolutely.
Yeah, love it. And that's like a really good trait to have as a founder, I think. Like one of the things that we've been talking a lot about lately is like, you know, the importance of talking to users in an early stage, and also like the importance of just like going out and getting people to try things and see how they feel about it. And, you know, it is pulling teeth to
Absolutely.
onboard oftentimes until you get to that moment where everything just kind of goes.
We've thought about that a ton. It's like I absolutely want to do the things that don't scale right now. And I think it's like anybody who thinks that you don't have to do that is just full of shit. Like you do need to do it. And like we've done a lot of stuff that really doesn't scale, but like that's fun and that gets you towards a point where the flywheel start going. Like the referrals or the word of mouth or like fuck, like Evan loves this thing, like great, refers it to every human that he knows kind of thing. That's what we need. But to get there, you got to get Evan, right? And that's probably like shit like this, like meeting him around, like whatever it might be.
100%. Well, Ash, this has been a ton of fun. For the viewers, go check out at Get Axel on all platforms. The app is live today. And yeah, pumped to see what you guys come up with in the next couple months. Definitely will be following across all social platforms and trying out the app as well.
Yeah, watch our Instagram content. More of me losing my dignity every passing day. That's what we got.
Love it.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. We're going to cut to a quick intermission, and we will be right back for Mento and more Monad in the morning. Peace. Catch you in a couple minutes.
Why build on Monad?
So when people ask me this question, it's like really hard for me to explain why Monad.
And we are extremely back. I am going to try Killer Cola for my second.
Oh, that's a new one. I haven't.
Yeah, it was in the back. Smells
Coca-Cola?
smells interesting.
And it's gonna taste exactly like Coca-Cola.
It most certainly does not.
Oh,
Is it like a low cal type of thing?
Yeah, 20 calories, 4 grams of
this
sugar.
tastes just like Dr. Pepper.
That
It's
might
called
be
Dr.
a
Death.
slight exaggeration, but it's reminiscent of Dr. Pepper, I would
Okay,
say.
well, I don't drink soda, and I haven't drank soda in like a really long time. So the small amount of sugar makes me think it's a Dr. Pepper.
Hey,
Have you had the other like Ollie Pop kind of
Yeah, okay.
soda?
I have.
But like I was
had
gonna say, like
lollipops.
how does that compare to this?
Yeah, I'd say similar. I mean, this is 20 calories.
Yeah, but
4
taste
grams of
wise,
sugar.
taste wise.
So it tastes like a Dr. Pepper to me.
I mean, I think, to be honest, like healthy sodas are just not very good.
That's how I feel. That's what I was
you
trying
guys,
to get to.
do you guys drink? You guys drink the like?
I'll have a DC and a Blue Moon like every couple months, and crack.
But I mean,
That's the monad version of 2 coffees and a beer.
The-
a Diet Coke
Yeah.
and a Blue Moon.
no, the energy drinks, like those things are also super sweet, right?
Yeah.
So that is like I don't drink drinks like that.
Yeah.
So anything that has a little sweetener is
Yeah.
more sweet to me.
Okay, so you're not like a Celsius guy at all.
No,
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
No, Jessup doesn't have. He doesn't have like 0 caffeine, but he's not a big
Yeah, pretty minimal.
Okay.
caffeine consumer.
It's good. I feel like it's good. So you're like, your natural energy levels come up from that.
Sure.
Or you're just tired.
We have not talked. Jessup, any chance you can spin that monitor a little bit just so I can see the chat a little bit better?
They're talking about nothing relevant.
Yeah, but I want to know what's going on with the chat. We've got
Solsal and Carol are debating on
Oh, man.
Web3 guys are not healthy to date. Celestial Natty is saying, what about Web3 girls? It's nonsense.
Wait, what does that even mean? Like, why would it not be good to date someone who's in crypto?
Let's hear it, Solsal.
Yeah, chat. We need you to justify your positions here.
She says, stay away from Web3 dudes. Devs and doctors too. Directors and movie makers too, because they cheat easier.
Bro, I hope you're doing all right.
Are you all right, Solsal?
Soul Sal. Oh man. I mean, we got the super fans here. The Monad in the Morning super fans. You guys are here every week and we appreciate you. I think, it's definitely a testament to optimism and belief in crypto to be here, and we see that and we appreciate that quite a lot. I think it's obviously an industry where there's a lot of ups and downs, and I haven't even been around that long. I was class of 2020, as they say, and even since then it's been an absolute roller coaster, and most of the euphoria I honestly missed because I was buying the wrong shit. So I just have seen other people win, and I'm like, hey.
We just get wrecked.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, good for you guys. I genuinely want everyone to win here. I think if you are a high integrity participant in crypto, then you deserve to win. Whatever that ultimately looks like for you. And sometimes you set a certain definition of what winning looks like, and then that doesn't play out, but you win in a very different way that you didn't expect. So broadly, I think the people that are in crypto now definitely deserve a win. But what does that look like? I don't know exactly. So I do think there's a lot of credit for being here, a lot of credit for being an early Monad user. This year is definitely all about growth on all fronts.
100%.
And it's an interesting time to, be a quote unquote general purpose chain, as they say. But the thing that is unique about Monad that I always come back to is like the tech is not only so good, but it is so unique. Like the fact that Vitalik puts up this long form on Twitter with his walkaway test, and then Keone quote tweets that, and he's like, we already did half of these things and implemented them on Monad, and also a bunch of this other stuff that we haven't done yet is on our radar for future years. This year, 2026 and beyond. Like, that is crazy. And I think that's one of the most underrated things about Monad, because it's easy to look at Monad right now and be like 200 and something, million in TVL. Like, that is dwarfed by other chains and ecosystems. But like, hey, we're 2 months into mainnet here, and this tech is
but
working
even
very
regardless of that, I think like people are smart enough in crypto now, both retail and institutional funds, who are the ones like we that can really move markets, and that we talk to a lot, where what they want to see is organic TVL adoption and growth. And like, it's too easy to spoof numbers or just to use incentives and like kind of fake things up a little bit. And I think like that game in crypto is gone, and at the most like it works for a little bit, right? But I would say like any serious participant, any serious liquid fund, for example, doesn't care about that. And like for them, this period I think is very much so about creating trust, where they all know the reputation and the tech is really good, and it's kind of like seeing, hey, do people like slowly want this TVL to ramp up? And those are all extremely promising signs of adoption. So I think under the hood, from everything we're doing on the enterprise, institutional, and even just like raw consumer side, it's a story of momentum. It's not even that, I think like we all know that the fight has just begun. And I think for us, like kind of keeping the blinders on, everyone is so laser focused. There are so many deals that are happening right now. And again, I think people should lock themselves in as well. And it's going to be a pretty exciting couple of months, but at the very least, like kind of like what Danny was saying, the vision of Monad is like we're kind of already at, in some ways, what Ethereum wants to be in 5 to 7 years from now. I would say the other side of that is like liquidity is going to take a while to catch up, but in some ways that's like an easier game now, right? Like we built that tech, and then the end game is for us to become the deepest liquidity depth across all of EVM. And I think once you have those two together, everything unlocks in a very unstoppable way.
Yeah, and when you like actually talk to these institutional players, which I personally don't do a lot of, but thankfully we have some people here at the Monad Foundation that are much smarter and more well-connected than I am. And it is very clear from these conversations that these institutions do value the EVM. They
100%.
They value high integrity founders and leaders that are playing a long-term game. And they also value performance and decentralization.
Yep.
And we had a clip of this from last week's show. Decentralization is not sexy, right? Like it is your preventative measure against a lot of like terrible scenarios. And while that is not super like hot narrative wise in 2025, 2026, it does matter a lot. And that's what these institutions are valuing. And so expecting to see a lot of momentum. There's a bunch of stuff behind the scenes that I wish we could talk about that we can't talk about yet, both on like the institutional and enterprise side of things, but also on like the application side of things. Like new program coming up very soon. We like to give the alpha on Monad in the morning. I don't want to get in trouble by giving too much, but new program very soon for really designed to support the sharpest builders in the space and the people who have a really strong vision and the willingness and energy to just go after that. And so I think this top secret unannounced program that's upcoming is going to be really, really cool. And it also seems to be, not to cut myself off or you, but it also seems to be a theme. Like, this will probably make more sense next week, but it's a similar way that a lot of different ecosystems are working to support builders right now. And the way that we're going to do this program, I think, is just really smartly designed, really intentional, looking for the best founders in crypto. Doesn't matter where you've built in the past, where you're building right now. We want to support the best app builders in crypto, and hopefully give them a little bit of a taste of what this
100%.
monad blockchain is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what's unique on the team side is that there's just a very high level of rigor when it comes to doing all of these programs. So I think people should be very excited for that. Yeah, but again, I would say like the biggest thing for us too is, obviously we're laser focused, and I think people in crypto tend to be a bit more short-term oriented just because we're just trading markets all the time. But I think when you zoom out, there are plenty of reasons to be excited about the future of the industry and the future of Monad and its tech specifically. Like, even when you think about decentralization, like decentralization prevents against a lot of tail risk when you have like teams that are building things where everything is centralized in one location, or where you can have the government just like come in and like tell a team like, hey, turn off this blockchain, right? There are plenty of instances where there's a lot of money in scenarios where that could feasibly happen. I think if you, again, like I almost now frame everything in this like post AGI world, because I truly think like it's probably what we're facing, and like even in a 5 to 10 year period, I think it's the same reason why people are so obsessed about privacy recently. Like, why has Zcash, for example, been ripping and all of these things, right? Where all of the tools for governments to be able to track your assets and money movements are just, our lives are not going to become private. And I think part of the reason for blockchains, for example, is to be able to have a place where I can permissionlessly move money, where if like there's this huge state overhead and the IRS and the government can see everything that's happening, this is a place for you where you can feel safe and secure with your assets. But you should only feel safe and secure with your assets in a decentralized environment where no one can, either attack one node and everything shuts down, or just go to an operator and tell it. Like, as a foundation team, if you want us to do something with the blockchain, like, we don't control the blockchain. The blockchain is a network, it's an entity, right? So I think that for people to like, I almost think like decentralization might be the most slept on thing right now. It's not hot because from a user perspective, people don't feel the pain right now. But I would say like, there's a reason why crypto was built off of this, of being your own bank. And I think you cannot have that without decentralization. And I think that the ideals of crypto will become more and more clear in the next 5 to 10 years when the world just shifts dramatically.
It's kind of, this might be a brain dead analogy, but it kind of reminds me of like bike helmets in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like, people are not like,
Totally.
Dude, that new Schwinn helmet, man, that thing is so protective.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
I'm going out to get one right now. I'm
Right.
only wearing the most protective helmet when I ride my bike. Like, I
Right.
care about the helmet more than I do the bike itself. Like, no, man, that's not how people
exactly.
operate. Like,
Yeah.
if they fall off their bike, then, they're probably wearing a helmet from there on out. And hopefully, if they're not wearing one, hopefully they, survive and, don't sustain any like debilitating injuries. But that's kind of how people learn about this stuff.
Yeah.
You get bit and then you change the behavior in the future. But, I certainly remember like the amount of victory lapping post FTX, not even victory lapping, but the amount of like, not your keys, not your coins, was like crazy.
Yeah.
It was all over everywhere. And it's like, that kind of became the narrative for a bit. And then you had, Celsius and all these other, issues around centralization. And, I think there's going to be a point where the pendulum swings back and people, talk about it again and care about it again. But ultimately, what really matters is like the institutions and enterprises and the big players, like they understand this. They care about this. They don't want to go, make some major move with hundreds of millions, billions of dollars behind it, and then, wake up in 6 months, 8 months, 15 months, and then it's like, well, what happened? Everything's gone. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But decentralization might be the most slept on narrative of
I think we're coming back. Yeah.
I remembered a big L based on our clipped optimized questions with Ash. I wouldn't say like ultimately this was a like catastrophic L for me, but it was definitely a massive missed opportunity. I saw like Ralph Wiggum popped off. As like, an AI narrative, and then there was a meme coin associated with it, and it ran up to like 2-3 million market cap, and I was like, oh damn, maybe like AI season is back, like I'm gonna buy some of this. And then the next day the founder, it was launched on the Bags app, and the founder had like dumped a bunch of the tokens, and people were like, oh, what the heck, this is cooked. It went all the way down to like 400k market cap. And I still held it through that. It bounced back up to 2 million, and I was like, all right, this is probably not going to go well.
Yeah.
So I sold off at like 2 million, like 30% loss, and then like 3 days later, I heard about it again, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Check the chart. It was like 35, 40 million market
cap.
I was
like,
like,
20x.
yeah, here we go again. Tale as old as time. Danny can't trade. But I guess that does go to show that Trench is heating up a bit.
Yeah. I saw some stat that was like we had the most amount of coins deployed and graduated on pump funds since like in like last September. Some crazy amount of time has passed, but it feels like the energy is back in. It's also one of those things where in crypto, the best time to pay attention is when no one's paying attention. All the money gets made when you think that there's no opportunity, because then that's where there's actual edge. That's where there's asymmetrical upside. I think in bull markets, things move so quickly, and it's actually very hard to have edge, because like kind of like what Ash was saying about the pump fund trader groups, like there's different motion there. You have like pro trading terminals and these guys in groups just sniping everything. And it's even worse. Like I remember AI agent season, within a second of a coin getting deployed, you'd check a GitHub, and then the token would be at $50 million market cap. Obviously, things like that are not going to be happening right now. But like in the Ralph situation, like really DD it and be like, okay, like is this, and like you can catch the meat of the move. Like you can even get in at 10 mil and be like, I think there's some legs here. But even trenches aside, I think in general, like pay attention, because this is where all of the gems are going to be created when liquidity flows back in.
I mean, speaking of that, I tried to follow on and had basically like the same thought as you. Like, okay, well, maybe it is kind of like a mini AI season again.
Sure.
Obviously got my teeth kicked in on Ralph Wiggum, and then Claudebot pops off last weekend.
Nice.
And I didn't really like pay much attention to it until Monday, but I was like, oh, we got, this is me. Like, oh, we got a healthy dip here. We're back down from like 10 mil to 3 mil. Like, let me scoop some of this up. It was, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday evening, I think. And then, before I went to bed, it was like, moving up like 4 or 5 million. I was like, oh, okay, this could be the bounce. I like this. Like maybe we're repeating history here. And then Anthropic emailed him and like a cease and desist. And like, you have to change the name. And then next morning, the coin was obliterated. So back-to-back L's for me, but let's put the headphones on and switch subjects a little bit. We have Denny joining us, the CPO at Mento. Pumped for this one. Hey, Denny, how's it going?
Hey, everyone. GM, how's it going?
GM, absolutely fantastic to have you here today. probably the most logical place to start is quick intro on yourself and what you're working on at Mento.
Yeah, super excited to chat with you guys today. I'm the CPO here at Mento. Pretty much do everything from building the protocol to talking to users, talking to liquidity providers. Do a little bit of everything here, and really excited to engage the community here. Built product for many years now. Spent some time at Google. Spent some time at Circle. But like really excited to be working on what I work at Mento, bringing FX on chain.
Love it. So kind of from the explain it like I'm 5 approach, what does it mean to bring FX on chain?
Yeah, historically, I think everyone here is familiar with stablecoins, USDC, USDT, so on and so forth. Historically, I would say it's one of the few products that really had mass scale PMF in the last several years, right? But historically, stablecoins have, well, still actually is the case that it's 98, 99% of the total circulation is USD stablecoins specifically. What we really want to do and what we're trying to do is bring the rest of the world, the rest of the currencies on chain in a usable fashion that users can trade or swap a Japanese yen for a euro at the rate that it is, whatever it is right now. I can't do math, a little too early.
Fair enough. Stablecoins obviously have been really in the spotlight for the past year or so. Mento taking an interesting approach here, but curious like how you expect to see stablecoins continue to grow in 2026 and beyond, and particularly if you want to double click on like the emerging market side of stablecoins, which some of the viewers may be a little bit less familiar with.
Yeah, I think like if you look at it historically, emerging markets were actually one of the first places that stablecoins, crypto, blockchain rails really found real world adoption. If you look at markets like Venezuela or Turkey, Argentina, for instance, those are markets where, everyday people face really high inflation, had a use case for stablecoins and having access to financial rails with the blockchain. And this is where it really like picked up momentum. For example, Tether, USDC is predominantly used in these places for people to save and access dollarized savings. So if you continue along that arc, what you'll really see is a proliferation of new and extended use cases, aside from just access to dollars, which is what most of us should know and be accustomed to today. And really extend that into like payments use cases, real world use cases, cross-border transactions. Just double clicking on the cross-border transactions and cross-border payments piece, a lot of that is being done with USD stablecoins today. Friends of mine over at Artemis published a lot of good research around this, where there's over 100 billion of cross-border payments volume primarily done with USD stablecoins today. Now, if you think about it, I know I'm going a little off track here, but this is something I'm pretty passionate about. If you're making payments from, I'll go back to the Europe and Japan example, but you can pick any two countries. Does it really make sense to use a US dollar as a medium exchange between those two markets when neither the recipient or the sender is touching dollar in this case? So these are the kind of things that we're working to solve for, build for, and make more efficient down the road.
100%. Yeah, and I'm curious, as you think about some of the more use cases that come in here, obviously, as you mentioned, we know the product market fit with remittances, cross-border payments, transactions. Obviously, then you also bring in this huge kind of like trading environment of FX markets that obviously exists in TradFi. Do you think that those types of markets and traders come on chain and those types of institutions as well? Is that something that you guys are targeting in any case?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something where I think if we build the product in the right way, and have the right levels of liquidity, they're capitalists at heart. These traders are looking for spreads. They're looking for the most efficient prices. I think they'll naturally just come. If you can find a good route to Japanese yen and euro on chain, you're just going to do it because that's the cheapest, most capital efficient, fastest way to do it. Those will just come. And then I think you also mentioned like traders and arbitrageurs. If you find spreads, they'll come. They're capitalists at heart. So if we build the infrastructure right, we set up the right liquidity, these things will just kind of naturally and passively happen. It's something like we think about, but it's not the end state in which we're building towards in the next 3 to 5 years down the road. But it is an important piece. And if you think about the market size of the FX markets, it moves $9 trillion a day. I don't know what overall, crypto volume, if you look at all the assets on, DeFi, CeFi, Binance, Uniswap, so on and so forth. I don't think in history it gets to the annual size of the FX market. So even if we bring, several basis points of that on chain, that would monumentally move and grow kind of the usage of stable coins and blockchain rails in general.
100%. And I feel like now is kind of a interesting, unique time where even retail traders are getting more interested in FX from the perspective of, there just being a lot of geopolitical tail risk, like the White House talking about devaluing the dollar, and everyone's like, hey, like maybe I should be, trying to hedge my books. Like it's precious metals and commodities and everything else are doing great. But you mentioned something interesting, which is like, obviously, I think that there's massive opportunity just to capture a few bips here. But, you guys don't rely on that to win in your 5 to 10 year vision of the world. So maybe double clicking on that, like what is the vision? Like in 5 years or in 10 years, if Mento has succeeded to your ideal state, what does the world look like?
Yeah. Our strategy really revolves around building the most efficient on-chain native infrastructure to unlock FX via stablecoins. And if FX can be a first-class primitive on DeFi, and Mento does what it does, and we build the right infrastructure, Mento executes on that strategy. And, we all win because we have better rails to swap. One of the issues today, and without like getting too into the weeds, one of the issues today why stablecoins non-USD stablecoins don't really work on DeFi is because of this, the AMM infrastructure that was built up that everyone's familiar with like Uniswap and other applications and other forks of it. That's based on kind of supply and demand and pool balance pricing. Now, that works when you have, like a Mon USDC pool and there's price discovery happening on chain, right? But for stablecoins, if you can't swap, a euro for $1.15 of USDC, that doesn't work for the user, and that doesn't really provide real utility other than price discovery on chain. That just doesn't work. So what we've built is something called FPMMs, fixed price market makers, which uses Oracle-based pricing. So what we do in simple terms is we take FX rates from the real worlds that banks have access to, bring that to pools on chain, fix that price, and allow you to swap with no slippage at that Oracle price or at that real world price, as we call it. And that really unlocks, a plethora of use cases. So going back to like our strategy for FX to come on chain, what does that unlock? That unlocks payments use cases, that unlocks hedging, that unlocks access to dollars. It could even unlock like applications that we haven't thought of yet as kind of builders like build on top of this base layer infrastructure. So what we want to do is be the FX rail for crypto rails, blockchain rails.
Love it. On the like crypto native side, it's been a weird couple months, and I think a lot of crypto natives are kind of down bad prior to starting this segment, I was just talking about some of the terrible trades that I've recently made on chain.
I heard a little of that.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
100%. That's par for the course for sure. But I mean, across the board, seeing less hope for the future of the crypto industry than I think we've seen in a while amongst the crypto natives who have actually been around for a while. Like if I go talk to, a quote unquote normie who's kind of familiar with crypto, there's actually a lot more positivity and a lot more hope out of that side. And certainly on the traditional finance, institutions, enterprise side of things, there's a lot of excitement and a lot of movement happening there. But I guess, what would you say to a retail user who's skeptical on crypto's future growth right now?
And when you say retail user, you mean a crypto retail user, not like a normie retail user, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like those of us who, have some degree of brain damage from hanging out on crypto Twitter for too much of our days.
Don't we all? I don't know. I mean, look, I feel like we had this, without getting like too into like the degen weeds, like we had this like cycle of like meme coins. The cycle before was like NFTs. I think retail is just kind of like burnt out of all these things. If you think about, meme coins specifically, like it's a zero sum game, right? Everyone's chasing the pumps and everyone's trying to get out before it dumps. It's just the state of liquidity in markets and how these things work. I just get the feeling that like a lot of that has like really, really drained crypto retail, and I think just focus on like the real use cases that are being built right now. There's a lot of really cool things happening right now. Agentic commerce, X402, a lot of really cool tech under the hood that's going to like really, really drive real use cases. But back to your question, I think it's not really chasing the short term like hype cycles and quick fads, and really focus on what's being built and where you can get where you can participate in value there. I think when you think about like protocol tokens, governance tokens, and things like that, how I think about it is think about it in like the traditional finance sense, like which tokens accrue value back to the tokens itself, whether it's in the form of having real utility for the token, or in the form of actually like in the traditional finance sense, like cash flows or fees being pumped back into the token in the form of like buybacks or other forms and mechanisms to doing that. That's how I would think about it. I mean, I'm no savant, but that's just how I think about it. I'm sure there's much smarter people that look into this than I, so I wouldn't put too much weight on what I'm saying here.
Yeah, but I think directionally you're certainly spot on, and it's an interesting mindset shift because the people, especially those who are around in 2021, obviously the pendulum swung super far bullish, and the people who had kind of a midterm thesis rather than like a hyper short-term thesis were the ones that actually got burned. Like if you thought that NFTs for all intents and purposes were just going to be like up only, and this tech was going to just completely get adopted across the board, and all of these brand new IPs would be dominating for years to come, like that thesis did not really play out. And same with a lot of like tokens and ecosystems as well. And that's not to say that the long-term potential isn't there, but those with kind of the midterm thesis, I think, were the ones that got hurt the most, whereas the people who had the most short-term mindset actually kind of like ran away with a lot of the gains last cycle. And the people that were holding for a very short period of time, looking to hit a multiple and get out, those were the people that won. And so they became, in a sense, like, the playbook for how to participate in crypto. And I think that was entirely accelerated, throughout meme coins to now we're just at a crazy point in PvP trenches. But basically, like, the idea is, hey, now it's time to play a different game. Like, crypto and TradFi are just becoming more closely intertwined, and the real winners are going to be from a long-term perspective at this point. So I definitely appreciate that mindset for sure. I think it's definitely a shift from how a lot of us have quote unquote played the game over the past few years. But ultimately it is very exciting for the industry, because now it's like, hey, there's great tech here that actually beats the traditional incumbents. There are more and more use cases. There's more and more smart people coming into the industry to build cool things. And, ultimately that is a sign of growth and maturation. So I'm ultimately quite excited, but it does feel, I think, a little bit weird for, a lot of the crypto natives kind of seeing this stuff play out, but not necessarily knowing how to best position themselves or participate in the future of crypto.
Yeah. I think like nothing's ever going to stay the same, right? We're never going to have these, like, I don't know. I don't want to say never. That's probably too harsh. But we've seen a few examples of this in the last cycle. But I don't think we're going to see the kind of like airdrops before a product that's being like fully built and used. Create massive amounts of wealth pre product GA launch. I just don't think we're going to see that anymore. But like you said, it's like a sign of maturity and it's a sign of growth. What I would really think about is like what has real tangible like user and real world value, and that will be used and can create actual value from a dollars and cents perspective, but also from like a use case perspective and
100%.
utility perspective.
And one question on that from the FX side that you guys are solving, obviously, as you mentioned, we all know stablecoin issuance is up and to the right, and that USDC and USDT have been widely adopted. What have you seen as kind of the blockers to FX on chain, and why is now the right time? So for you guys, like, how do you feel Mento is uniquely positioned to solve this problem, and why is now the time to go after this?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the point I made earlier, where like DeFi and on-chain exchanges just haven't had the infrastructure to have the right pricing, have the right price discovery, and just be like efficient in terms of transacting. There's a host of non-USD stablecoin issuers out there, and if you actually like dig into the weeds and look at their on-chain volumes and how they're traded, they're actually like very thinly traded on top dexes, like any of the top dexes. I've been saying Uniswap a lot, but I think that's a pretty ubiquitous one that most people know. Their volumes are pretty thin because of this reality that you'll face slippage, and if you face slippage, FX just doesn't work. This is where we've seen a lot of traction, especially in some of our G7 stables. G7 being the largest, the most liquid currencies in the world. Is just called Group of Seven: Euro, Pound, Yen, Swiss franc, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
When you see that, it'll also proliferate into some of the emerging market stables, which have thinner liquidity, which are traded much less, but have massive real world utility, like Latin American currencies like Brazilian real, Argentine peso, things like that, Southeast Asia. And we've seen really big growth on Mento side is actually in Africa, with places like Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, where there really is a need to access financial markets. A lot of these folks are unbanked and don't have a way to access, euros for their family, et cetera, or vice versa, to their families and businesses from, other parts of the world to Africa. That's where we've really seen a ton of growth, and I think we're going to see a ton of acceleration in growth there in the coming year. And we're seeing a lot of interest from enterprises and institutions as well, looking to unlock these markets or be more efficient in these markets. I'll give like a tangible example. There's a traditional legacy non-crypto, very like old school boring business that sells like packaged goods. European-based company, has a bunch of operations in Africa, but they don't have a clean, cheap, efficient way to bring back revenues from their Africa operations back to their European headquarters. So what we're doing with them is working on a pilot to basically use our FX rates and our rails and then stable coins on top of that to more efficiently bring back revenues that they have in Africa and other parts of the world back to their headquarters and reconcile the funds there and use traditional SEPA rails to actually book their income and revenues. So a lot of these we're having a lot of these conversations with very boring is good, I guess. Like these boring traditional old companies that I think like retail traders like wouldn't bat a lash at looking into, but these are the ones that bring like organic flow and real use cases on chain, and we're seeing a lot of that. Like I think you're hinting to this, like times are changing. Broader adoption is coming. Like the suits are here, and that's a good thing.
100%. And for you guys, like how much then of your business do you see being between retail, someone just wants for the sake of payments, remittances, or just like converting their paychecks that are hyperinflating in a local currency to dollars, that type of retail user versus these more like SMBs and enterprises and institutions?
Yeah, I think the makeup right now is more towards the latter. It's still really early. I think you see this in a lot of other parts of the industry as well. It's really early, and it takes a while for these SMBs or enterprises to kind of overhaul their systems and kind of change everything. They need board approval, things like that. We're seeing the super early innings of that over the last year, with the passing of the Genius Act. We'll see what happens with the Market Clarity Act coming up. We're really seeing the early innings of that. And I think in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, that shift is going to change just because retail on a standalone basis or like end users is relatively small in comparison. If you look at traditional FX cross-border payments or remittances, the largest corridor for remittances on the end user or retail side is US to Mexico. That pales in comparison to the enterprise US to Mexico trade, right? So as this kind of gets adoption, the shift is going to change, but that doesn't mean the infrastructure shouldn't serve all of it.
Makes sense. I want to paraphrase a question that we got from the chat. Shout out IOBNAD, who's watching along. Mento is integrated across numerous chains and ecosystems. How do you think about the future evolution of the infrastructure side of blockchain? What do you think is most important for the specific use cases that you're focused on at Mento? And then, from a broad strokes perspective, for this new era of crypto, if we can call it that, what do you think are the key characteristics of a chain or an ecosystem that will define the winners from a long-term perspective?
Look, I think if you think about chains in isolation, it needs a few core things for it to function. I mean, I obviously really love what Monad has built and is continuing to build. It needs reliability, so uptime. It needs high execution speed. So if you're taking a minute or two to validate and finalize a transaction, it just won't work for payments. It needs it needs liquidity. It's, you know, there's a lot of these like smaller chains that just don't have stablecoin liquidity, and you won't be able to do a lot of the things that you need to do for payments and things like that. So those are just like core foundational primitives that you need from a chain. But beyond that, it's really the ecosystem that's being built around it, and the team behind it. So having the right kind of enterprise outreach, having the right connections to the suits, let's say, and bringing those online, and being able to build a level of trust and transparency that's needed for them to kind of clear their boards, or you know, like just get executive approval to like build these things, is very important. And you know, slight teaser here, we will be launching on Monad soon, TM, very soon. So super excited for that. Actually, I think this is the first place publicly that we have announced this. So a little alpha leak there.
Yeah, we love that, and so do the viewers. They know if they show up on Thursday mornings for Monad in the morning, we will try to get them any scrap of alpha we can, and today was a big one for sure. So appreciate you dropping that, Denny. Really, really excited. If you want, I'll leave it open. I'll leave it open so you can unpack a little more. Also, respect if you want to, you know, hold off for what I would imagine is an upcoming announcement. Totally fine to take that approach as well.
Yeah, I'll keep it super high level. What we'll be bringing is our FPMM pools that I talked about earlier, fixed price market maker pools with various currencies. We'll start with a few and really scale up. What this unlocks is and various stable coins, actually non-USD stables as well. And then what this will unlock is, you know, the ability to swap, you know, a euro, whatever that exchange rate now. I think with like the Greenland news, it's probably like 1.5 or something. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But I think it got higher. I haven't looked this morning. Yeah, so we'll be bringing a slew of our stable coins. What we can also do in the Monad ecosystem is, you know, other stablecoin issuers can integrate into our FPMM pools as well in, you know, a permissionless governance-based process. And, you know, every application, payments applications, wallets, things like that will be able to kind of hook into the Mental protocol and be able to leverage our swaps, be able to use our stablecoins, and whatever other use cases they're building. So we're really excited to kind of grow with the ecosystem here and expand kind of the real world use cases. So really, really pumped. Yeah.
We are really, really pumped as well, and definitely appreciate the alpha drop. And like I said, I'm sure the loyal Monad in the Morning live viewers definitely do as well. So a lot obviously coming in the short term here, but to kind of zoom out on a final question, you know, we were talking earlier in the show about some tweet, I forget who put it up, but some tweet that we were seeing either last night or earlier this morning, which basically said that yesterday gold added something in the neighborhood of 1.7 trillion to its market cap, and that is roughly the entire market cap of Bitcoin. What do you anticipate, or what would you guess the crypto market cap might look like in 2030? How much growth overall as an industry do you think we're going to see in the next 4 or so years?
Well, I guess I'll take this from like, I'm a consultant by training, so I'm going to take this from like a consultant approach. Like if you look at the stablecoin market cap today, which makes up, you know, what I think like a little less than 10% of the overall crypto market. A lot of folks are saying, you know, the 200 something billion in stablecoin market cap could easily be, you know, 2 trillion in market cap and circulation by 2030. That is a very real number, I think. Like I said earlier, we're seeing the early days of enterprise adoption. Once that turns on, you're going to see really, really big hockey stick growth in stablecoin adoption and then thus stablecoin circulation. So, I think a conservative number would be, 20 trillion for the overall crypto market. But I'm feeling optimistic today. So I think it could easily be in like the 100 trillion easily. I think gold as a total is what, 80, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember.
I'm actually not sure off the top of my head either, but I do love that take for sure. For the viewers at home who are prone to clipping Monad in the morning, I will tell you that is a great clip for sure.
Look, I'm a lot more confident on my stablecoin prediction than my overall crypto market prediction, but these things kind of move in line, right?
100%.
They absolutely move in line. So
yeah,
hold me more on the stablecoin.
And as you mentioned, just the total daily volume of the FX markets themselves doing more than any crypto markets have ever done in a single day is already just an example of the massive TAM that's out there that Mento is going to be bringing on chain. And yeah, I think we're really excited about this adoption story. It's clear that on some parts stablecoins and everything with that is the killer app of crypto already, but it's inning one. Like, we haven't touched any of this yet, so we're excited to 100x that opportunity. And yeah, thank you guys so much for working together with Monad. And we, I think the goal and the collective effort here is to grow that liquidity size, bring on institutions, enterprises, SMBs on chain, and really make all of this capital accessible for people, both from a business perspective, saving them basis points on and actually letting them reconcile books, but from a person-to-person perspective, allowing someone to send remittances cross-chain. I think it's super clear that there's massive value and product market fit. So we really appreciate working with you guys and for you coming on today with us, Denny.
Yeah, I think like one point I think that hits home for everyone that they've probably experienced in their life is when you go land in the airport in another country and you see those exchange desks squeeze
Totally.
20% or whatever spread it is that they charge. I want to see a world, and I want to build towards a world where you can just open up your wallet, swap your USDC for whatever country you're in, let's just say Brazilian real, and then be able to get cash for that in some way. I think that's when we realize like the full cycle and be able to spend it, or just be able to spend your Brazilian real stable coins at whatever vendor that you want. And that's the world that I want to build towards. And I think we're closer than ever to it. And I want to say like super excited to engage with this community and super excited to be building on Monad with the rest of the ecosystem.
Absolutely love it. I think we have one final question. If you have one more minute, Denny, I'm going to throw it over to Jessup.
So this is a new segment that we do where we ask the last guest to ask the next guest a question without them knowing who that guest is. And so the question is, what could Monad be named if Eunice, James, and Keone named it something that wasn't disgusting, but was so like weird that it would sway you in not building on Monad? So like, for example, if they're like banana peel chain. Like,
I can't think of anything that's like not completely vulgar right now, but that's a tough one. So I have to pick a name that would convince me otherwise to not have built with you guys.
That's not vulgar.
Yeah, I guess, but that also could be an answer in itself. If you're like, hey, the name doesn't matter as long as it's not like super super crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some pretty funny and degen names in the past protocols. I can think of a few. Like Spank Chain for one, for one example.
I
think anything that would dissuade enterprise integrators to I know it's a cop-out answer, but like basically we're trying to build for mass adoption, and if like a Walmart says no, this is not kosher enough for me. I don't want to be associated with this. That would definitely dissuade me. But I know it's a cop out answer.
But I think that, I mean,
that's what we're trying to build towards.
that makes sense. I mean, even like, you know, if it was frog chain, even that's not vulgar, but like Walmart would be like, this just seems unserious.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could ask the next guest anything, what would you want to ask them? Literally, obviously, anything.
Yeah, it does not have to be crypto related. It could be, it certainly could be crypto related, but it could be literally anything. And obviously, the tricky part here is we don't know who the next guest is, so we don't know who's going to be fielding this question.
Yeah, but I'm assuming all of your guests are relevant builders and in the industry. So I think I want to kind of go along the same veins of the prior question. I think a lot of us travel the world for conferences and going to different events in different cities. I'm kind of piggybacking off the last one, but like, what is their non-crypto related, but like, in those trips or those travels, like what is their craziest or grossest experience, whether it's food or an event or whatever? Like, what is the most like outlandish thing they've experienced while going to like a conference or an event?
Great question. Absolutely love it. That could be actually our best question yet. Denny, we will have to let you know when we ask it next week on Throughput Thursday, Mon Out in the Morning. There you go. You'll catch it live. Denny, thank you very much for joining us today. Really, really excited about the things that are going on with Mento, and even more excited to see it coming to Monad. If you watched live, then you have that alpha, and hopefully you're better for it. But yeah, Denny, thanks for the time. Thanks for joining us today, and hopefully we can run this back soon.
See you very soon. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Denny.
guys. Really appreciate it. See y'all.
Alrighty, headphones are off. That was our last guest of the day, but it is time to have a little fun. We asked a couple questions from the chat today.
So first of all, I'm on my third liquid death. I don't think we're going to hit 10.
No, we're not going to hit 10. I actually think this is a record low for me.
It's hard to drink the flavored ones fast.
Back to back.
Yeah. I was like,
I put down
then,
2 today, but when I've been having the teas and the waters, I'll have like 3 or 4.
We're out of still, so anything that's like sparkling is really hard for me to just chug.
Yeah.
So,
yep, but it does mean
Nacho's
that we
gonna
don't
win.
need as many intermissions, which
I do need an intermission. But
well,
let's spin the wheel.
We'll get you an intermission, but before we do, oh my goodness.
Time for the wheel.
It's time for the wheel.
Let's do it.
It's time for the 7th inning stretch as well, because holy cow, my back. All right. Let's see. Who had the first question? We didn't have a ton of questions that ultimately were asked on today's show, but of course, we appreciate the loyal listeners today and always. All right, so we had, looking through here, we had Tank 00XX. Evan, you wanna give this bad boy a spin?
Let's do it.
Do you want to also just pick a few people that are hanging out and watching? And
Of course.
I think
Oh, of course, Jessup.
Let's go. But this one is for.
This is for
Tank.
Tank 00XX. Tank, sick name.
let's see
I'm
a
blessing the wheel for you.
big wheel.
Here we go. That was it.
6,
6 7. Hey, gentle spin, big
Gentle
spin. Hey,
gentle
that's
spin.
works out the same. All right, Tank 00XX getting 67 Mon. Next up, we have IOBNAD. Hit it, Evan.
All right, I got in the practice spin.
Yeah.
The soft one, we're gonna do a little bit.
Yeah, give that thing some motion. Oh yeah, there we go.
100.
100. All right, we're going in the right direction. IOBNAD. I think those were actually the 2 questions that we asked of our guests. One for
Did you
Ash.
Oh, the IOBNAD one was the most.
Yeah, exactly. One for Ash and one for Denny. So let's You know what? Let's
What about clippers? Do we have any clippers that
Well, I mean, IOBNAD has absolutely been a warrior on the timeline as a clipper. We did see quite a few clips from the episode last week with Thogard from Fastlane. I thought I quote tweeted one as well. Oh yes, we did have a recent clip from Warsong ID, and I know Warsong is very likely in the chat. He was earlier, so Warsong, all the way from Indonesia. It might be like 1 a.m. there. It's definitely pretty late. So this one's for Warsong. Hit the spin for sure. 10. Oh my gosh, we are not.
That's my bad.
We are not hitting. Evan does not have
I feel bad for that one. I don't have the touch right now.
You don't have the touch right now. Let's see. Why don't we do? Everyone can drop this in the chat. Why? And we'll pick the most interesting answer as determined by me, Evan, and Jessup. Why do you tune in to Monad in the morning? Because you guys are the faithful. You guys are here every single week hanging out with us. And the criteria is not anything specific, but if maybe we'll get a nice heartwarming answer, maybe we'll get a silly answer, and we'll pick one of them and we'll give you a spin before we wrap up on this fine throughput Thursday.
We'll do one more after that because I have a cool one. So let's see what
All right.
we hear. I like to hear the news. I like the vibes. It's always fun.
Oh, who is that? Shout out. That's a wholesome message.
Carol.
Appreciate you, Carol.
Mirth Mono because it's cheaper than coffee and wakes me up faster.
It's hard not to spin for that one.
I think Soul Salo is saying he comes on for Carol. Oh no, just a spin for Carol.
Well, that's actually what my next one was going to be: is nominate somebody and say why they deserve a spin. But Liber says because Monad's tech and team is goated, you guys make it fun.
Appreciate it.
Much love.
Celestial Natty, I love to see how many LDs you guys can finish. Tank, big fan of the approach to marketing and putting ecosystem projects on.
You guys are the best. You're giving.
Soul Sal says, Jessup, you nominate me or you pay the rent alone this month. It's a running joke that she says she's gonna win the spin the wheel and pay my rent with it.
Well, I would also, you don't have to answer right now, but I would also throw out the invite if you have suggestions or feedback, or you want to see things maybe different or new, you have ideas for Monad in the morning. You guys are watching every week. You guys are the ones that are going to know what the things that you want to see are. So let us know. Shoot the pipeline a DM, shoot me a DM, shoot Jessup a DM. Jessup has something to say.
From Saw says that you reposted one of his clips last time.
Well, I saw that out of the corner of my eye, and you know what, From Saw? I certainly believe that is true, and I would like to make it up to you right now with a spin. And then I want to spin for Carol, and then I want to spin for Mirth Mono, and then I'm going to go eat some lunch and get back to work because we have a lot to do to make Monad grow. So, all right. First From Saw, then Carol.
Oh, yeah.
Then
you did.
I believe it. I trust you, From Saw. From Saw.
1143, 1143.
Ooh, that's the second highest, I think, on this. This wheel.
The mini wheel.
Saw. Hey, you know what? That's what happens. You speak up. You made a nice clip. We reposted it. You're like, hey, where's my spin, Danny? Oh, we'll recognize that. Now you have 1143 Mon because you spoke up and you clipped. Love that. Shout out From Saw. Appreciate you. All right, 2 more. Carol.
Carol, this is for you. 100 mon.
100. I almost said I think I have a better touch than Evan today, but then
That's where we
maybe
landed,
not.
man.
Maybe not. All right, Carol with 100 mon. Hey, that'll cover a lot of gas fees. A lot of gas fees there. All right, last but most definitely not least,
Merv.
he is here every Throughput Thursday. He is dynamic in the chat. We appreciate you, Mirth Mono. This spin is for you.
Let's see a big wheel.
Yeah, keep it going.
Oh, so close. 42.
Very close. Mirth Mono just consistently wins like the smallest numbers on the wheel. But he shows up every week, and there will come a day that is not the truth. But today is not that day. Nonetheless, appreciate you all. If you want to throw out some suggestions, some feedback, you want to help us grow the pipeline, grow Monad in the morning, hit us up with a DM. Curious to hear your ideas, curious to hear what would make this show more fun, more interesting, more jam-packed with alpha. If you have guest recommendations, let us know. We're in this together, and this is all about having fun, talking about what's going on Monad and in crypto, and sometimes beyond. Sometimes we talk about random topics like science and peptides, and hey, that's fun too. But yeah, appreciate you all being here with us this week. Appreciate Evan, as always.
Thank you guys for having me.
In the co-host slot. Goated, Jessup holding down the fort.
Yes,
Savant, Renz actually, he went full docs on Twitter. So shout out Renz0x, I believe is his new handle. And if you want a prize, make sure your X handle is in your Twitch bio so that Renz, formerly known as Savant, can reach out to you and make sure to get the right information so we can get the prize in your hands. It does take a little bit sometimes. There's some steps we have to take, so appreciate the patience as well. The distribution is not instant, but it is coming. We track it all. Happy Throughput Thursday. Thanks for being here. We will catch you next week.